I started my first company in '99. It was bought by another company. I left 2 years later, which is usually what happens when someone buys a company. And I started 1.5 years on doing freelance, especially focus on logos. So basically, the first time that Bureaucratic went to print was in a book from Rockport called Logo Lounge. Letterhead and logo design 9, along with names that I treasured like Pentagram. So things look great. I started the company with this guy, it's called Felipe, and we tried 1.5 years trying to see if we could cope with design, learn how to do design, know how to sell design. And in 2006, I started the company alone because Philippe went to another industry. Fast forward for today, and I'm still here. I don't know how, but basically I think it's because I had no plan B, so I just had to do it. So there was no plan B. Plan B was to make plan A work. 18 years later, we are known for winning some awards. We were Digital Agents of the Year in Portugal in 2019. We were Agency Studio of the Year in 2022 for CSS Design Awards. There's sound here. And for the last 10 years, we were honored on European Design Awards. And 57 times at the awards, which probably you know. So the awards are very important. It was the key for our visibility. So I strongly encourage you to do and submit your work for the awards. So my talk is named Design is not tequila. It can't make everyone happy. I'm going to talk about some pain points on creating exceptional websites. I will talk a bit about people and leadership, creative potential and purpose, content, and everything else that enables us to carry the flag of good design. Basically, it's our manifesto that we have on our webpage, but it helps to explain how we do this. If we oversimplify the process of making a website, and I did this just for you to understand that you can design it and build it, point 2 and point 7, but basically you have a lot of convincing to do to make the design get approved and the website shipped. So there's a lot of convincing here, which leads to people. And the designer life is not easy. You first have to learn the tools, you have to learn what's good design, and then when you want to sell this to a client, it's tricky. Because I personally think that good design doesn't convince clients, only convince designers. So I will talk a bit about leadership first, because that's my main role nowadays in the Bureaucratic, to deal with the clients. And in 2017, there was a total solar eclipse that swept across the US, and this guy, John Carmichael, was set to make the best photo out of it. So he did his work. He understood that he had to be in this plane near the shadow of the event, of the solar event, and he tried to book the ticket. But sadly, there was an open seating policy, so he couldn't find a place to make the photo. He could be on the other side of the plane. But he did it anyway, and when he got there, introduced to the team, and they gave him the best seat. The captain himself cleaned the window, and they made 5 180-degree turns, which in terms of an airplane, it's very expensive. So he managed to take the photo, which was this. Craft-wise, it's excellent, it's perfect. But I want to talk about the element that was key for him to do it. They got the crew to be truly involved. How can we help? To be available, hands-on and do-it-yourself actions, not orders, so the captain cleaned himself the window, and give the extra mile, because this was a one-of-a-kind event, and usually it's what we say to our clients. The website is a one-kind of event, let's make it special. So basically the crew is the client, the ideal client, and you need a decision inducer, maker, or facilitator, and handouts person so that this could happen. If you find one, magic will happen. We call it the cheerleader. While it's socially acceptable, I have to find a new name for this. But you need to identify early in the process who will be your cheerleader in the client. So entry number 1, we love clarity and we are straight talkers. Expect the courage to do things differently. Remember that this is the manifesto that we have on our website, so it's something that the clients read. And I will talk about one client that we worked for more than 6 years. It's a local theater, and they asked us that they wanted a web page, and this is what we have. We are not super happy with it, but the main problem that we have is that we don't have photos. So can you do something pretty without photos? And of course, 0 photos is typography. Typography is beautiful, so you can make the best out of it. So we worked 1 week, just 1 week on this in September, and made the first version. Playing with typography, playing with very, very cheap materials because they had no budget. That's the other thing that's normal. But we managed to interplay the shades and the transparencies and make something that excited the clients. So we worked through the year with more vibrant colors. These are the outdoors that are a combination of print and film, so that we could have the vibrant colors. And the second season, the second year, we used the same principle, but with complementary colors. After 2 years of work, we had something that we were proud of it, and the client was very excited to have. Eventually, we made the website with the same premises of not having images, so if they don't have images, the website would work the same way, based on their agenda, of course, because it's a local theater. And they got excited, but they wanted to change something. So we added a responsive concept for the third season and motion design. The design for the third season was based on motion. So yeah, fourth season, it's almost closing. We returned to the black. It was their color, and we were concealing the colors a bit further. We planned the colors for the rest of the brochures, but then in March happened something, which is COVID. COVID hit, and they said, let's cancel this. We won't print anything else. Let's do this digital. And we said, yes, but there is an opportunity. If we don't have events, we can still have the brochure clean, and it's a clean slate. Of course, it costs money, but it's a perfect way to foreclose this cycle of print and go 100% digital. And they agreed, which was good because now we could make the archive for the project, finish the thing, and then make the photo for your portfolio, which is what normally people see. The take on this is that you need ownership, you need freedom, you need to be on the decision front to make it good. And actually, it was our most awarded project ever. We won gold in Portugal, Oslo, in European Design Awards. We went to Berlin. We won the Ferdigoni Top Award, and we managed to take the printer, the client, and myself to the event. So it was something to celebrate with the client as a summary for the full project. And we also went to Typomania in 2021. So ownership. We work hard and try to play harder. We stay playful and never take ourselves too serious is number 2. I like to consider my approach to business as fearless, unfiltered, genuine, and happy. This is a photo that was not staged at the awards, but we have a lot of examples where the team really goes happy. And happy is good. Our biggest, or my personal biggest highlight of the year is Amplifest, which is a festival, a metal festival in Porto, and where we are main sponsors. You can see on the right side that we are the sponsors of the main stage. It's a small venue, and usually the big bands are not the strongest highlight. Normally, it's the smaller bands, and I give you one example. So this is a video that I did, and the vocalist is, of course, crowd surfing. And this is something that, to me, a small venue, a small band, equals a small, fearless studio. You just do it. And he's having fun, right? More than we. Almost there. So yeah, the thing that I take of this is passion. And my definition of passion is that working hard for something we don't care is called stress, and working hard for something we love is called passion. So it's the same thing. You can have stress or passion, but I prefer passion, so that's why I'm doing design. We always try to step outside of comfort zone. That's part of the reason we got here. So we work with startups and we work with big brands. And of course, startups can be hectic. Big brands can be lethargic and very slow, and you need to adapt. We work with remote, which has more than 2,000 people. We work with small brands that has less than 20. Flacto is another example. I will talk about just remote, which is a huge HR product. And they had a new brand that was made by Design Studio. And they were very happy. And they came to us and said, we want to expand the brand that Design Studio did to the website. So let's work on making these globes, which is the hero of the brand, be part of the narrative. And we worked with them. They loved it. The process was smooth, and we did something that we really enjoyed. But sadly, they didn't show this to the marketing team. And when the marketing team saw this, they only saw globes in front of the copy. So we can't read this, people won't be able to read this. And basically, we were solving just a design problem and not the company or the product problem. So nowadays, you can see the website, it's purely marketing, but we could do this a lot better. We were solving this with the wrong team because the marketing was not aboard. So yeah, shit happens. Basically, on this diagram, we even built it, so the website was done, but we failed to convince the client management because we had no contact with him early on in the process. This is all very, very important content. We are not a lorem ipsum agency that worries about text and images later. Content must always drive design. And content is very, very important because we are a design-first agency, but we place strategy and content before that. We need to see how or what we will be working with it. You probably work on a startup, and all the briefings from the startups are, we are super impactful, we are disrupting X, Y, Z, we are something killer, ChatGPT killer is the current thing, we could be the next unicorn, blah, blah, blah. But basically what we need to do is to make the questions. If we are designing for the people that will use the product, for the investors, is the product ready, or is the roadmap, what's the roadmap ahead? Because you know that market is the final boss, right? A startup can have good intentions, but without transparency, it's impossible to do it. But when we accept it, we transform content into visual beauty, I would say. We create the brand, we create the brand universe, we create the assets, we explain the product, we even revamp the dashboard, the product himself. This is a platform, a payments platform. And this is what we like to do. We are a digital agency, but we also do brand. So you have to collaborate, only deal with decision makers. This is not easy to do, because to me, content is availability, and if you don't have the one that decides, it will be problematic. So eventually, if you work on a small studio, it's up to you. There's no other way. You have to gather the content, and sometimes you need to create it. So you, as a designer, you are the hunter. This is the website that we are currently doing. It's for the biggest coffee brand in Portugal and Spain. It's called Delta. And we started with the video and with the music. And of course, I'm not cleaning the window, but I'm there making sure that we have the best possible video as possible. Here's the take on it. We just have the video. These are some style frames. And the music, because I think music up front. So to make a good website, the visual brand is very important. Here's 30 seconds of the last brand universe we did. If you split the websites that we did over the last 4 years, there's a huge split between 3D, which was some startups, and crypto. Creative Code, also for crypto. We worked during the pandemics with a lot of crypto brands. And film photography, like Delta, that are more genuine products, real products, and not just something that you have to explain with the universe. But I want to talk about music, of course. Every time that we can, we merge music with the experience. Because, as I like to say, music keeps me alive and design pays my bills. So for this, for example, for pharma, there's music. Yeah. So we create micro tracks composed for the website to extend the narrative. In this one, if you have headphones, we have videos on the right, and you have just audio on the right. If the video is on the left, you just have video on the left. So all this intensifies the experience. This is a website for a brand of wood houses, and we composed music just with wood instruments, a marimba. Just to give you the experience that we want of someone that managed to buy their $1 million houses. But that's more than that. We also had some elements, micro-elements, that avoid
Ei, pagamento recebido.
Hej, otrzymano wpłatę.
अरे भुगतान प्राप्त किया था.
Привет, платеж получен.
Or, if the client give us total freedom, we get completely crazy. That doesn't happen often.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, so why is design not tequila? Because the merging of the client needs, the team wishes, and the audience also needs, it's just this. So it's very tricky to have everyone aboard happy. Or if they choose their pizza according to listening to everyone, the pizza will be funky, right? I prefer to show this. Doing a website is like a remote with full of buttons, and if you handle this to someone that doesn't know what typography is, he will choose the wrong button. It's very easy to do so. So the solution that we have is to just give the buttons to the right person. So it's not a remote, it's like 10 remotes, and someone can choose the color, someone can choose the content, but if you give everything to everyone, it's mayhem. So, and nobody is happy. I personally think that design alone never wins, ever. And I'm selling design up front with the clients, but there's other things to make a designer see the light of day. Paula Scher had this tweet a few years ago. The designer has to be a strategist, psychologist, diplomat, showman, or even a Svengali, which is a hypnotist. I think that social skills beat strength or design, and politics and money can rule them all. So you need to play their game and not just put design on front. And it's not about winning or being right. It's always about doing your best work. Nobody does cards, right? That's a current thing. Nobody wants to make cards. But when they do, we make the best card of the world, because that's how we like to approach things, one problem at a time. Every brand that I designed for the last 20 years needs to be properly polished. It's the only way. And this is very important. We want to leave work happy, and that's non-negotiable. We will be all dead soon, brands and companies. Remember that this is our manifesto, so the clients can see what we are up through. And of course, this is a topic that could be a talk. Feedback is the worst, right, for a designer. Anyone knows what's this? Yeah, it's an email. So a lot of replies and a lot of stuff. So we call this the scroll of death mail. I don't let any thread goes over 100 replies because that's nonsense. We have other tools to discuss the project. But we need to talk with whatever say yes, because you can lose your time with someone that just won't decide. It's just listening to you and telling that to the other side. We had another metric of just 10 calls for the project, but since COVID, this changed a lot. So now we are 20, but sometimes it goes more than that, like this example for 25. And this is because you can get a captain that is obsessive and he wants to talk about everything. So it happens. My favorite persona is the eraser. Someone that is not part of the process sees the website on the end and starts, remove this, remove that, and just take this, and then we need to add this. And we say no, because he was not on the process, so maybe he shouldn't be on the process, so that's non-negotiable. But sometimes it's someone that gets like a new marketing manager, and we have to start over. We have to explain why we do it. And of course, I'm the one that gets killed on the process, and still trying to be a diplomat. And no clients were ever harmed in the making of this. Wait, yep, not one. We double-check this. And the problem with feedback is that sometimes you go way over, you complicate, you add entropy. This is a real feedback from a project that we finished a few months ago, and this is their designer saying, too much details, too many colors, which is good, it's valid. We like it about 56% more sleek, which is abstract. A designer can't be this, and a designer needs to tell exactly what he needs. So 50% what? Sleek? What's sleek in terms of details? It's impossible, right? And this 56%, stay with us for a few days. It was the official meme of the company we made some memes, but eventually we took a grasp of it. So this is our new website, and we use it. 50% sleeker. And I will show you a bit the WebGL work, but the take on this is that if you can't be funny, you're not free. This is the WebGL experience. We have audio. This is the full list of the last years. And you can interact with them. Yeah, fucking love this. Okay, almost finishing. We are not for everyone, and that's fine. Everything's going to be all right. This entry, when I decided to put it, I had doubts on if this was too poser, but it was real. We are not for everyone. We don't solve all the problems. And eventually, I decided to add it. And with just this single entry on Manifesto, we found one client that said, we love your stuff. And it was this sentence that convinced us. We are not for everyone. And they used it on their website. We did the website. So always strive for like-minded. If you state up front what you want or believe, the clients that believe the same thing will get to you. So yeah, design is not tequila. You can't make everyone happy. So how to surpass this obstacle in practice? I would say this is the main point. You need to share your ethos and beliefs up front to attract like-minded people from the start. So write your manifesto and filter the next client and next team members. That's it. As for design, this is the only device that I can get. I don't know how to become a good designer without practicing. From newbie to a pro, it's just time and dedication. So shout out to everyone giving it all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Adriano. And now it's time for Q&A. We don't have any questions in the app yet, but I guess we for sure have questions from the audience. So just raise your hands, and then we will get your question. And I can't see well from the stage.
There's over there.
There we go.
Hi, very
Hello.
lovely presentation, thank
you.
you. And I wanted to ask specifically about the sound on the web. So I can imagine this is very often a point of contention
Yep.
with clients. Is it the case of you already have this kind of a brand with yourself where clients just accept it and just go with it? Or do you actually have to go through the pains of explaining it? And how do you do it?
It depends on the client. Usually, like 95%, they even don't know that the website will have music. So it's the last elements that we add to it. Because if you say that the music will cost 2K, they will say, no, we don't need the music. And we need the music. So basically, it depends on how much the client is with us. And if he's with us, we tell him that we plan to do this. And eventually, in the process, we will make it. We have a range of friends that make music, so all this is custom music. So it takes time, but it's part of the experience. Without it, I think the websites are dry. Because we, as a designers, who works on digital, we always have headphones, so it's a lost experience. If the client doesn't like it, he can just close the sounds.
Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, there is the Chrome issue, because now everything is blocked, right? The music is blocked. So we have to find schemes to overcome that. But yeah, I think to the full experience, it's a mandatory element.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions? We have still plenty of time. There we are.
Hi,
Hello.
thanks for a really nice presentation.
My pleasure.
You said that you are not for everybody, and I totally get that, respect that. We all like different things, but I was wondering, what is your opinion and mind about the accessibility? And yeah, maybe how do you address accessibility in your projects?
Okay, so since the beginning, we made just 2 websites in Flash. So we are old, and we embraced accessibility rather than Flash. So we have strong feelings on accessibility. So our code is accessibility compatible. So yeah, but it depends on the project, right? If it's something public, you have to. But it's a matter of principle to make the code accessible for people that can't read a screen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next one.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
I wanted to ask you, because you were talking about the convincing, and indeed, I also agree that design is not a tequila. But I was thinking, I actually wanted to ask, how do you try to convince the client that just wants to make changes that you know it's going to be ugly? Like, I personally, I really like to design very strictly towards the client's feedback, do it in an ugly way, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. So I wanted to ask you, how do you deal with that?
So basically, I'm selling design with the client. So when we say yes to a project, we are their partner. And I need ownership. So I'm with them, not doing exactly what they ask, but telling what they could have. And of course, there's negotiation. We lose sometimes. It's not a big thing, especially on colors, sometimes in typography, a lot of times on animations. So you need to balance that. But basically, I'm with them. It's not someone from the client that says it's need this. I'm with them, and I explain them in loco, so with them at the time that they bring it up, and tell them what they could have. Right? So it's being with them.
Makes sense. Obrigada.
Obrigado.
Okay, any more questions from the audience?
Thanks for your presentation. It was amazing. And
Pleasure.
I have a question. In my company, our creative team is amazing, but sometimes it's very tough with the management.
Yeah.
So, simple question, it's a fight or flight situation.
I think that it can't be a fight, even for developers, right? When you design something and it's completely out of what we normally do, the developers suffer, right? So it's not just management, it's everything. It's the full ecosystem. So you need you need developers that are willing to spend some research and development. We have several websites that there was nothing like that, and we had to find a technical solution. For management, we only have to deal with the client because I'm the management and I'm selling design, so it's a no-brainer. We will do the hardest thing because we need a different website, not just like the competition. We need something that will prevail and endure for at least 5 years. That's our metric. And usually we have websites that have 10 years, 12 years, and they still look good. So it's an investment, and you have to make it worth. So you have, I think the main struggle is the beginning, to understand the people that you have to work with, if it's possible or impossible. And you know that from working 1 or 2 weeks, and that's what we do. We work with the client 2 weeks to understand if it's a good vibe, a good fit, or not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have still around 10 minutes for questions, so go ahead. There we have one.
Hi, thanks for a great presentation.
Thank you.
I have a question around kind of how do you get to the decision makers? Like, how do you kind of, like scoop them from all the people that you need, like talking to, email threads, all that?
Okay, so it's really the first question. Who will make the decision on all this? If I do a website, who needs to tackle all the decisions? So it's not the cheerleader. The cheerleader, the interface is just someone that is fighting for the same things. And usually when we find, usually it's the CEO or the head of product or whatever, they are on the threads of our product management platform, which is Active Collab, and they read everything. If they don't read everything, it's their fault. So we have everything. They can ignore it, but they are part of the process and a part of the decisions, and when something is important, we tag them and so that they can read. So we have a horizontal structure. Everybody knows everything. Even the CEO of the company, because it's very important that he is not the eraser later on in the process.
Okay. There we have one more, also in the front.
Hi, thank you. It was very nice presentation, and this 56%, it's just, I can relate. My question is how you and your team stay so creative. Maybe you have some few tips. Where do you find this inspiration for your ideas for such, kind of crazy websites?
Yeah. So the best moment is when they send us the first email and manage to describe a bit what they want. And we look for competition, where they go through, where they navigate. And we get, if there's creative potential with it, being the industry or the product brand or whatever, we find clues to allows us to, if we have the ingredients, to make a good website. So if so, we talk with them. So that's our decision we ignore some because we can't reply to everything, and some are not compatible right away with budget or with timings. Timings is very important. To make something like this, you need at least 4 months, 6 months ideal, 9 months, great, 1 year, perfect. So almost nobody wants to wait 1 year, but you need at least 6 months to make something. And usually startups want something in 1 month, 3 months, and that's not compatible. And it's up for us to explain that it's not compatible. We need at least 4 months. And the ones that get back to us, why 4 months, are interested. So we continue the conversation. But most of the dropouts don't. They just want websites. So you need to filter the clients very much early on in the beginning. After that is to knowing the people, their culture, their hierarchy. And sometimes it's not possible when you know more about the company. And yeah, basically that's it. And we work on a basis of 3 weeks. So we work 3 weeks. If it's good, we continue. 3 weeks, more 3 weeks, more 3 weeks, more 3 weeks. So we tackle the project like that. And by contract, we say that they can leave and we can leave if this something gets out of control. Usually it doesn't, but it can happen. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe now I have one question. So are all your websites just custom code, or you use any frameworks, tools?
Yeah, custom code.
Okay. That was an easy one. We still have around 5 minutes, so if you're not tired, we can continue.
I'm not tired. Yep.
Let's see. Or maybe the audience is tired, but maybe we have some more questions. I don't think so, right? It's there we are.
I just have the question, maybe a technical one, maybe psychological one. How do you start to have this kind of attitude that you filter clients? I really like it. I would love to have it.
Okay.
But I'm not sure in which point of the career you can afford to have something like that.
Yeah, so that's a difficult one. I would say that what allows us to do this was to get projects with no budget. So started there, and we understood how to navigate through it, and what if this was a real client, how could we structure the process? So low budget is low ownership, but if we have no budget, we die soon, so that doesn't work, right? And then you incrementally do it. I think it's very important, the manifesto, because the clients see it and they say that this is not for me, or I love this attitude and it's good for me. So now you have a filter, a narrow range of people that could work because they saw something and they question, like the one from We Are Not For Everyone. I really struggle to, I want to add this, but I'm glad I did, because we did that website and it was our best client this year. So and it started with that, just that approach, because the CEO said the same thing. We're not for everyone, period. So it's a matter of state what you want to do, and then eventually you need the luck to get the right people to do it.
Thank you.